Welcome to the Story Of podcast. I'm Jay.
I'm Ashley.
And yeah, we're chilling. We are chilling today.
I will have to say, welcome back, because if you are joining on episode 4, what are you doing?
Yeah.
There's 3 episodes for you to catch up on.
You're more than welcome to catch up on the others. But anyway.
It's not like it's a kind of podcast where you have to listen to every other episode. You can kind of pick and choose any topic that sounds fun for you.
Yeah.
And today we're going to be talking about another little mixed bag episode. Jay's hobby.
I think we're liking these.
Jay's
these
hobby,
bags.
My hobby. We're going to talk about books for a hot second.
It's actually so funny that we say, I mean, we do generally try and have like quite descriptive descriptions that I jazz up in there.
Oh yeah, that's all
but
Jay, by the way.
The titles, if you find any love in the titles, let me know, because no one scrolls past ours and goes,
we find the most obscure.
Yeah, they're more just obscure things that happen throughout the podcast if you haven't noticed. But if you're a regular listener, like we know there are some out there, shout out to them. We might have some questions from them today as well, which is pretty cool. So I've got a question we can answer later from one of our loyal fans.
One of our quality testers that got early access to the pod.
Yep.
And has been helping us.
And they have given it.
Iron out some cute little things, so thank you.
I think it's got the stamp of approval, but we'll keep going anyway. We want to clean up some stuff from the last episode.
Well, not clean up. Ashley, I am Ashley. I just said that in third person for no reason. I mentioned it when Jay was giving us the random laws and like weird laws that exist. And I said to him that it's pretty weird that we don't have any of the answers. And I don't know why. I think it was a missed opportunity for him to have not known the answers for after we speculate. So we're gonna fix that up today. And Jay has now figured out some of the answers.
Yes.
And he's gonna.
Well, I think we should start off with
us.
First, we should start off with your. So we had some questions and like trivia for your Throne of Glass. There was one that we got wrong. So for the Throne of Glass fans, because I know you guys are diehard.
So I did mention this when we actually had the pod, like in the pod. I said I don't think that's correct. We got those trivia answers off ChatGPT. Jay has no idea about anything Throne of Glass, so he had no idea that the answer was wrong. The question was, what is Celaena's sword? And it's actually Goldrin, not the sword of Ardalin.
The blade of Ardalin or something? Yeah.
So
what was it?
It's Goldrin.
Goldrin.
Yeah.
Not
Cauldron, Goldrin.
The
like
leaky
gold.
Goldrin.
Like gold.
Yeah, Goldrin.
Yeah.
Well, it was my mistake. I took the G out of GPT and made it gospel. So I was like,
and there's the other main sword that Adian uses in the series, and it's called Damaris.
Dude, it could have said anything in that GPT
and you would
answers,
have thought it was
and I would have been
proper.
like, yeah, Anakin is the Jedi Order.
So don't always trust ChatGPT. They can get it wrong.
Yes, they can.
But yeah, so these laws, Jay.
Yeah, the laws.
You want to tell me?
So the laws, we had some weird laws. If you didn't see that episode, you're more than welcome to go back and listen. Otherwise, you'll get a short summary of some of the best laws right now. So these were kind of funny. I made another silly mistake of not finding out why these laws came into place, but I just had some funny laws I wanted to tell everyone about. So now I've found the history behind them. And the first one being was, why couldn't you clean up bird poo, bat poo and seagull poo in Western Australia without a license? And it just turns out it's just because there's like diseases and stuff.
So I was correct.
Yeah. And now I actually had experience with this because I didn't get criminally charged.
I know. I'm like, when
cleaning bat poo.
What?
No, we've had a pigeon mishap at work recently, and we had to get an exterminator. And he also said that when the poo from the pigeon dries up and like you move it, much like asbestos or something, not asbestos because that
you breathe it in.
breaks your lungs. If you breathe it in, That's how you get the disease transferred to you.
Oh.
So that's why you need a license in Western Australia. So if you're thinking of cleaning some bat poo or seagull poo in Western Australia,
Just be careful.
get your license first.
Make sure it's still wet.
Make sure it's
No.
yeah. He said if you just wash it down.
Yeah,
with
make
water,
sure
it's fine, but
it's fresh.
yeah, you need a license in Western Australia to wash bat poo down
Wow.
with water. Go figure. Then I also talked about why you can't object during a wedding ceremony
in South Australia.
in South Australia. Now, it turns out it's not only that, but it's been a law since 1953, and it's actually just disturbing with any unintended behavior. You can be fined, you can be imprisoned. You can be fined $10,000 or imprisoned up to 2 years.
Whoa.
If you suggest, or if you,
Disturb the peace, right?
if you intend to cause a ruckus, essentially.
That is crazy.
If you are conspiring to cause a ruckus at a wedding and you go ahead with said plan, you will be imprisoned for 2 years. This is recognized, it says here, this offense is recognized as explicit language to, serious behavioral issues and even religious things. If your religion doesn't agree with the marriage, you can go in. So I was like, oh, fair enough. That might be why it's in there. But there you go.
Crazy.
And the last one was the potatoes. You remember me talking about the potatoes?
Yes.
So you can't carry more than 50 kilos of potatoes. Turns out this used to be a law around all of Australia. In 1946, even earlier. The Marketing of Potatoes Act, 1946 is what it's called, which is probably Australia's best law. That's amazing. It was illegal for anyone to sell, purchase, or take delivery and deliver more than 50 kilos of everybody's favorite chippy, the potato, the one and only OG potato.
That's incredible.
Unless you, were a member of the Potato Corporation, which is also a massive Australian corporation apparently. Anyway, offenders could be fined up to $2,000, and some of them have been handed out at $5,000, which is amazing. Sir, why were you fined from potatoes, carrying too many potatoes? Turns out the rest of Australia was like, this is stupid. Sometimes people just want to buy 50 kilos of potatoes without having to consult a literal freaking corporation.
Yeah.
But Western Australia was just like, nah, we're going to keep that.
Well, Western Australia pretty much wants to be their own country at this point. So.
Literally, yeah. And so apparently it's just the way their laws are done over there. And apparently it's been repealed quite recently. 2021, it was repealed. So until then, you were breaking the law if you popped down to your local supermarket, loaded up your trolley with 51 kilo bags of, or 51 1 kilo bags of potatoes, because if you get 50, that's fine. As soon as you go over, grab 51. Yeah, you stack them in the boot of the car, hit the highways. Woo. You're a criminal, sir. You are a criminal. So that's cleared up all those laws, and that I thought that last one had such a funny backstory. That's hilarious.
That reminds me of a thing that I've seen. I just only I'm very late to the game. I just actually started finally going on Threads, which is pretty much Instagram's Twitter, or X. Right. But it's the same kind of thing. You just stream of consciousness. And I seen this thing. A kid wrote that he's in America and his mum was in the shops, and the checkout lady actually said to his mum that she needs to let the supermarket know when he's going off to college so that they can stop ordering so much chocolate milk, because this kid, the amount of chocolate milk he drinks affects how much they order, and they don't want to over-order when he leaves because they've upped the orders. Because, they have 2-gallon things of chocolate milk and that, right? Milk. So, they've literally said to his mum that she needs to let them know so they stop ordering as much. Heck? Can you imagine ordering that much of something for your local supermarket to change the way they order because of you?
Well, it's so funny when someone's got that isn't really it. I don't know if that's an eating disorder.
No, just a hyperfixation.
But it's kind of funny when, what our first episode had, where I'd eaten the cheese and bacon rolls. And then you do the math and you're like, wait, how many liters of blood does the general human body have? Might have like 50. I don't know. Scientists, let me know. And then what if he's drinking like 2 liters of milk, chalky milk a day?
He's like 10.
Oh my God.
He's like 5%
he's
chalky milk.
literally 10% of chalky milk
Yeah.
every day.
That's insane.
It's so funny to think about.
But yeah, so there's some extra answers and some long-awaited explanations of things, which is really great.
Do we head on through to our good versus bad?
I think so.
Let's do that. Good versus bad for the week.
Do you have yours?
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely got mine, but one of mine kicks into the topics. Do you want to?
Okay, I'll do mine first.
You do yours.
So I've got one good and 2 bads. It's not been a bad week. I've just got 2 things that are like mildly infuriating.
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay, so my good is I found on YouTube this creator called the Cookie Rhino made a animated mock summary of the first ACOTAR book, which is A Court of Thorns and Roses, if anyone is unaware. I read that series and it's so fun. I love it. Really love that series. Sarah J. Maas is just a really great author, creates very good stories. But they did a cute animated story and it's funny. Like it's just, it takes the piss in the right ways of this animated summary. And that was like 10-minute animated thing. And that came out like a month and a bit ago. She finally this week released the second book's animated summary and I watched it today and I was audibly cackling.
That's funny.
I was watching it on my break at work and the girls would walk past and I'd be like cackling and they'd just catch like a certain like couple of words and be like, what are you listening to?
Dude, what the hell? So
it's so good.
Is each episode one book? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So far she's just doing a summary of each book.
Because it's what? It's like a 7-book series or something?
No, this one's only 5.
Oh, it's 5.
Oh, 4.5 because one of them's like a novella because it's just like, it's almost like a Christmas episode.
But there's no pictures, so...
No, but this is like an animated.
This
is like an animated version of it, and I think it is the funniest thing. So there's one character that no one really likes in ACOTAR. His name's Tamlin.
Right.
And in these animated summaries, she calls him anything but tampon, Timmy Turner, literally anything that starts with T. Tyrannosaurus Rex, she calls him in one of them. Like, all the comments are like, I can't wait until you run out of T words for you to call because so far she hasn't duplicated and repeated
potatoes.
Yeah, like but it's so funny. And as soon as I seen that on my YouTube today, I was like, oh my God, yes, that's
so good.
Yeah, so I feel like if I showed you the first one, you would watch the summary and you'd want to read the book,
right?
But we're going to talk about in like a future episode dramatized audio.
Do you reckon the author's seen it? Do you reckon Sarah?
I don't know.
J. Maas has seen it?
She's pretty like. She's like very online with the whole like
the memes.
What's up with going on? No, she's just like I don't know. She likes
just
to know what everyone's kind of
doing.
doing.
Just thinking of an author being a freaking meme lord is.
Yeah.
That would be so. Cool.
It's like how Taylor Swift has like opened up about having fake accounts so that she can stalk her fans without them knowing. You know, like and she'll invite people to premieres and they'll be like, how does she know that I'm like a fan? And it's like, no, Taylor Swift's been stalking you.
That's crazy.
She stalks them back. Like
getting stalked.
Yeah. And then my bad vibes, one's kind of annoying, but like a good annoying because we finally got our marriage certificate in the mail. It took a month. But now I've started the process of changing my name on everything. And oh my God, some of the processes are so frustrating. So like my license was fine. Going in for my driver's license, new photo, new signature, changed it over, didn't have to pay nothing, didn't have to do anything, just had to show my marriage certificate, that was it. Went into the bank, same thing, just need to change my name. The only thing that was annoying was I had to re-sign my signature for every account that I had open, so I had to do it 5 times.
Yeah.
For all the accounts that I had. Passport is seemingly okay. I got a new passport photo and a new driver's license photo, so I'm happy.
And they're good.
And they're actually a really nice photo.
There's not many people who have good passport photos, but you've kind of got a little smile.
I know.
And there's,
I made it
well
seem
put
like,
together.
I made it seem like my natural resting face was like a slight smile. So like as I was like talking to them, my resting face had like a little bit of an upturned smile so that when I sat down, they didn't think that I was trying to smile.
You know what's funny about that? I tried to do the exact same thing.
She told you off.
No, mine just came off. I kind of have a little smile if you look at it, but it comes off way worse because I went straight after work where I'm covered in grease and oil.
Oh, for your passport photo.
Because I'm a mechanic.
Yeah.
So if you imagine some grubby mechanic going straight in.
I told
went
him
in
to
just
clean
before-
himself and he didn't.
Yeah, I went in straight after I finished work because they were going to close or whatever. Got the photo taken, got it back. I've got a smile, so I'm just a creepy, like dirty, scruffy looking dude.
But for your driver's license, I remember when we first came up to Queensland and changed our driver's licenses over, the lady yelled at you for smiling and you're like, this is just my face.
Oh, yeah. I did have that.
Yeah.
But she
Well,
was
she
like,
didn't yell, but she was like,
are you smiling? It's like,
and then you literally
yes,
said, you're like, that's just my face.
yeah, that's me.
Because even when you were a child, it was the same thing, right?
Stop
Your mum
smiling,
used
Jay.
to like get mad at you when she was trying to be mad. She was trying to like grumble at you and like tell you off for not cleaning your room or whatever. And you'd be sitting there smiling just naturally. And she'd be like, stop laughing at this. It's not funny. And it's just.
That is exactly where the certified gremlin behavior began.
Yes.
Me just smiling while she's telling me off.
Just naturally, just
Yeah.
a cheesy grin.
And so the fellas had a joke back in high school. Yeah, stop smiling, Jay.
And then, yeah, so
That's that story.
That's trying to going to be a long process.
Yeah,
I've already hit a few bumps in the
a lot of stuff to
road
go.
where I'm like, oh, I've got to actually go in to change. But I found a really handy like list online of all the places to change it. So I'm working my way through that. And then the other bad is a sad bad.
Sad bad?
Yeah, it's a sad bad.
That sounds like a town.
We had to
in the
say
Middle East.
goodbye. We had to pretty much say goodbye or see you soon to our friends Andrea and Borja.
That was
this
very sad
week.
bad.
They're going back to
Spain.
for
Valencia.
a couple of months. So they have been living over in Gold Coast and we met them as soon as we moved up. I worked with them at my first job. Shout out. And they are the most genuine, sweet people I think I've
So
ever
lovely.
met. I am so thankful that I have met them in my life.
They flew down for our wedding.
Yeah, they flew down.
We've been hanging out with them.
They're so
So
sweet.
fun.
So it's definitely not a goodbye. It's definitely just a see you later. But I don't know what I'm going to do without randomly calling them up, asking them to go to an arcade or go-karting or like hanging out.
They know
for different
all the
things.
spots.
Like I'm very much going to miss them up here in our Gold Coast experience. But hopefully we'll see them very, very soon.
Good friends, great memories. We wish them all the safe travels back home.
Yes. What's your good versus bad?
Yeah, my good versus bad. So my bad vibe, I didn't actually have a super bad vibe. Yeah, I suppose mine was... Yeah, I don't actually have a bad vibe, honestly.
It's fine. You don't have to have a bad vibe. It's just if you've got one.
I think that show we tried to watch, that was a bit of a bad vibe.
Oh, we tried to watch Money Heist.
Money Heist.
We got what, 2 episodes in?
I heard it's actually great. The first 2 seasons are
Same.
apparently great.
I've heard that it's actually great. It's
But
just,
honestly,
I think we just
it's not
didn't
our
have,
vibe, maybe.
no, we just didn't have the mental energy that night
Maybe,
to watch it.
Maybe
I
we got to
don't
give it
think.
another.
Yeah.
Because we were talking about the overdub, and a lot of people are like, oh, you didn't like the overdub? When I was mentioning it. And I was like,
No, it's
no,
fine.
I like the overdub. That's fine. Because one of my favorite movies is like All Quiet on the Western Front now, and that is all overdub when you watch it without subtitles and you don't watch the original French cast or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I just didn't vibe with it.
I think we need to give it another few episodes.
Yeah, we're going to
Maybe
keep
it
trying.
needs more than just 2.
We're not breaking up with you yet, Money Heist.
Well, because like ACOTAR, you need to read the first 2 books to be able to get into it.
Yeah.
Like ACOTAR, you cannot stop after the first book.
You got to go into season 3
The second book.
of Avatar.
No, you got to read the second book.
Yeah.
Second
Season
book is
2
good.
of Avatar.
That's when Resane comes into it.
Yeah. Or book 2.5, really, because there's no pictures, so it is a 7-book series. We have clarified this multiple times in this episode, apparently. Yeah, my good vibe, my good bad vibe, bad good great vibe is Isle of Man.
Are you okay?
Yes, I'm
You just
fine.
had like a stroke or something.
my good
that was
vibe.
a lot.
Well, because this is a heavy topic. The Isle of Man tourist trophy
Started.
has begun. Well, it started a week ago.
That's all I've been hearing about.
And it's all you've been hearing about because it's the 2 weeks of the year where one of the greatest races on earth, shout out to the documentary series that's going to come out, greatest race on earth is on. Do you know much about the Isle of Man, TT?
Only what you've told me, which is pretty much everything.
Much everything. So you are very versed on the Isle of Man, TT.
I know they wrote, it's really dangerous because they ride on the roads
Yep.
through this island.
Yeah. The country's the isle. Yes.
And you literally never know what's going to happen because there's all these types of delays. I know people have sadly passed away in the race from crashing out. I know like it's very dangerous and like pretty much like the most intense thing you could probably ever do in terms of racing.
Yeah. Well, I don't need to say anything else. That's about summed it up. So I'll leave it to the next topic. No. So it is. It's a motorcycle race for triumph and glory. No, I won't make it dramatized. Don't worry. It's a motorcycle event that happens for 2 weeks out of the year. The first week is qualifying. The second week is the race.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they're technically both the same thing in a way. So you're not racing the other races.
It's timed, right?
You're racing against the clock. So you're trying to get the fastest lap
because
around the
there's
island.
no overtaking or anything because it's too dangerous.
Yeah, correct.
It's all
Yeah.
they space them out.
Yeah, they
like
don't,
delayed starts, right? So
Yeah,
it's like one
that's
person
it.
goes and then like the next person goes.
Yeah. So you can still overtake and stuff, and you need to. But yeah, it's a staggered start.
Yes.
Because if you let them all go at once, which they also do in Northern Ireland, which is just Irish road racing in general, which is ridiculous, but the Isle of Man is like the famous one.
Mm.
But yeah, it's just deadly race on like public roads, constantly going over like 300 k's an hour. I think the fastest lap around so it's 37 and a quarter miles is how big the track is. Again, don't know how. I think that's like 54 k's maybe.
The whole like and a quarter miles. I'm like, surely that would add up to exactly a certain amount of kilometers.
So that's 37 miles and 4 couches. Is that what it is? 4 couches. Yeah. Anyway, it's
sorry you didn't hear that, but I just very much rolled my eyes.
Audibly rolled her eyes. Anyway,
how do you audibly roll your eyes?
The race has been going since 1907. So what's that? 100 and something year, 114 years maybe.
Yeah,
115 years. It's been 260 tragic passings on the island, which is very sad. But they keep going back and they keep doing it. How is there something like this on Earth? Like, it's bizarre.
It makes you question humanity's sanity.
Yeah, humanity's sanity. That's a good rhyme. That's literally it.
But then again, a lot of people pass away from other like extreme
But the chances
sports
are,
too, though.
On average, that means 2.5 people die. Not like someone's got a dead leg or anything, but like 2 point whatever people have the chance of dying each year. Out of the 50 competitors, I think there are 50, 60 competitors, which is pretty sad.
That's pretty insane, yeah.
Yeah, but very, very cool. That's been my good vibe. It's been absolutely crazy watching that. I've got my vote in for who I want to go for.
We were watching, you were watching and I was crocheting at the same time.
You were watching that.
I was listening. I was observing. I was half
You were cross-eyed.
I was half in it. This series where they like do interviews with some of the racers.
Yeah, was that the one that was like
no, not the ad one. No.
There was one that sounds like an
one.
infomercial, but the same year they filmed one where they follow the riders. Yeah, so the one where they follow the riders.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and that looked good.
Yeah, so that's called No Room for Error. So if you want a good taste of like the behind the scenes of it, all you've got to do is look up Isle of Man TT, and you'll see the crazy videos. Most likely you've probably seen them on Facebook or something because they pop around because it's absolutely ridiculous. Just a small little island. I think the reason they can do it is that technically Isle of Man is not governed by the UK or Ireland, because it's right in between the two.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty certain they've got their own government so they can do this. And there's a couple other races that have on the island every year, like Northwest, which I don't think Northwest might be there, and then like Ulster GP as well, somewhere there.
We have figured out that when we do a big Europe trip, we are going to plan it specifically so that we can be at Isle of Man
100%.
When it's on.
We have to be there.
Yeah.
Definitely like a bucket list thing, and it is a bucket list thing for like many, many riders, but
you're not going to ride in it.
No,
you just want to watch.
Just to go see it. And that's another funny thing. I've just been having it on the background during work. So it's crazy that some of the guys who ride in that, who ride around the Isle of Man on these public roads, 300 and whatever k's an hour, they're like, a couple of them have said, yeah, like doing the British superbikes, which is short circuit, just regular, what like race cars would race on, but on motorbikes, they're like, yeah, that's crazy. That stuff is crazy because it's super fast. You're doing the 300 k's an hour on a short circuit, but you're shoulder to shoulder with people like MotoGP.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, they think that's crazy. And then they'll interview the guys who are like top of the game of the British superbikes.
Same thing, opposite.
Those guys are like, yeah, it's crazy doing what I do, but I would never dare race in something where every year people just click off the map.
Yeah.
Like, dude, oh, it's so great. But they've got everyone's so friendly because I guess that is there as well. So that sanity of humanity is so like bizarre. It's almost like that. The closer you are to death, the freer you are.
It's also like they know how dangerous it is. They know how crazy it is. It's like how people free skydive and stuff, you know, like, and they free climb mountains and things like that. They know that it's dangerous. They know well and truly what they're getting into, but there's just something about pushing yourself to your limits to the point where anything could happen, and then getting past that. Oh, damn! You would chase that high for the rest of your life.
Literally, and that's what I think it is for most people. Like, I think even one of the top guys at the moment, he's like 54 years old, 12-time
Michael Dunlop.
No, that's John McGuinness.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say I heard his name a lot. I heard Michael Dunlop's name a lot in that documentary thing you're watching.
And he is really fast, and like he's got a lot of family origin in there as well. But there's so many people that are really quick. I won't bore too many people with the subject because I would love to do like a full history thing on it. I think one day
you'd need to research that a fair bit. Though.
Yeah, definitely. That'd be cool if I was to do that sort of thing. That'd be really
cool. Like a single exclusive video kind of.
Yeah. Maybe I'll do an exclusive episode. If anyone's interested in that, let me know because I like my race history. Yeah. But I was going to add this on because of what you just said then reminded me of it. So you said, they know the dangers of it. So this particular type of racing is called Irish road racing, the crazy 300 kilometers an hour on public roads.
Yeah.
Fun fact number one before I get into the second one. Fun fact, I found out today they only close the course 15 minutes before the race is meant to start. So if you're parked on that course somewhere, like at the park, if you're at the bakery, on your local bakery, you're parked at the front, and then you hear the sirens go because they've got like 800 marshals on the 37-mile track. They go, yep, with loudspeakers, everyone pull your cars off. We're going to do the race in 15 minutes. And you don't pull your car off. They just tow it to the side and just block off the streets. Boom, go, race. So there's like oil and rubber.
Yeah.
Someone could have left a chip wrapper. Not that would affect a motorbike going 300 miles an hour, but 300 k's an hour. But yeah, they close it 15 minutes before and go, yep, event start, boom, and then you just go. It'd be so bizarre, like sitting at the bakery and like, oh, I got my coffee. Or you order your coffee when they start the 15-minute countdown. And then you get your coffee, and by the time you're finishing it, instead of the postman coming by, there's 50 motorbikes coming by at 300 k's an hour.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
How bizarre would that be? It just seems like another planet. I don't know.
Yeah, it seems like a very foreign kind of thing. But it also reminds me of like everyone who lives on the Isle of Man, they know that happens for that 2 weeks of the year.
Oh yeah,
it's like when the MotoGP comes to Phillip Island.
Oh, same thing. Yeah.
Anyone who lives in Phillip Island, they know that weekend is insane.
But it's also cool because they open up their doors, right? Like Phillip
They
Island,
know it.
You go there and they're all just like, look.
We get
Even
it.
if they're not interested, they're like, yep, cool. It's a festival. It's a whatever.
It's a full thing.
It literally changes the whole dynamic of the place.
It brings so many people to their small island. Like, it is so good for all the small businesses. It is so good for all things. Like, it's just, it's almost
crazy.
like, it's like New Year's Eve celebrations go pretty hard in Phillip Island, but it's like on steroids for MotoGP weekend.
The whole town's just, everyone's just walking down the street.
Because it's one bridge to get in and out of Phillip Island. And to get across that bridge anytime when the racing starts or finishes, it's hours. So
but they even changed. They add extra
they
lanes
add
into
extra
the bridge
lanes.
somehow.
Yes.
They fit them in there.
So they have this whole, it's actually a really cool system. So they have this whole yellow line system where they add in like normal 2-lane road. You've got like the emergency lane that can fit like another like width of a car, and they actually split both like the side going out of the island into 2 lanes. So you've got 2 lanes where the traffic going through that they use on race weekend. And I think that's such a smart idea.
It is very smart. And it goes on for a little while, I think.
It goes all the way out to San Remo.
Yeah, that's right.
That's when it splits back.
So crazy.
I can't believe I know that it's San Remo.
Yeah.
That's
You're
because
a geek.
that's because I worked MotoGP.
Yeah, you
remember?
did. Yeah, you
Fun
did.
fact: I worked MotoGP in 2022.
And just met all my idols.
And yeah,
good.
I was very lucky.
Yeah.
To work in a really cool spot above the pits.
Yep.
And the paddock.
Can I just quickly get at my second fun fact?
Oh yeah, sorry.
This was more related to what you said earlier. So just jumping back to what Ash said before about, you said the riders have to know the dangers. This part is so cool. So the type of racing it's called is Irish road racing. And there's some other events that you sign up to that are just as deadly. Now, Isle of Man is the only one that's raced against the clock.
Okay.
I talked about short circuit racing where you race shoulder to shoulder with everyone else.
Yeah.
The other races in Irish road racing are exactly that. Shoulder to shoulder, they just let everyone go.
Really?
At the same time. But it's on public roads, 300 k's an hour. So this particular one, I think it's this one. I think I'm getting this correct. Yeah. I know this particular thing is correct, but I just can't remember which race it's for. I'm pretty certain it's for the Northwest 200, which is like the second biggest Irish road race from Isle of Man. The Northwest 200, when you sign up, they give you 2 things. Irish whiskey, 120 ml of Irish whiskey.
Yeah.
And a Bible. And they say, cool, good luck in the race.
And is there a few things like you have to have a will and stuff like that before?
Oh, I'm sure there's all that as well.
Like you have to have.
But once
these
you sign the
things.
paperwork, they literally give you those 2 things, a Bible and whiskey, and go, cool, good luck, brother.
Oh my goodness.
See you later. And they don't tap you on the back. They grid you up like every other race you'd see on MotoGP or something. They grid you up.
You sit there
and they just go, whoop, green flag, see ya. And then they'll release people behind you as well. So they'll race like 2 classes at once sometimes. And it's
God, that's mental.
Crazy. It's just Ireland. What the hell?
That's insane.
Oh, so nuts. I'd
Holy
love to talk
moly.
to someone like that and see where their brain's at. That'd be so funny.
Right? Oh my goodness.
Yeah. But very cool. So that's been my good vibe, and also just a little topic for us to geek out over. Just wanted to blast all that out of my
That's pretty crazy.
brain. Yeah, I really want to keep watching the series that we started, that No Room for Error, just because it looks bizarre. And you see them just chilling in camper vans, like playing with their kids or whatever, and then, kids, you got to jump out because I've got to get ready to scream down past the bakery at 300 kilometers an hour on my motorcycle.
That's insane.
It's so crazy.
Just thinking about that is so crazy.
It's nuts, isn't it?
Oh my goodness.
Anyway, we'll move on to the next topic.
My next topic is at the start of this year, I decided that I wanted to have a reading goal
Yes.
for the year. And I thought I was being very optimistic at 50 books for the year.
50 books for the year.
Yep.
That's it. That's a lot of books.
That is a lot of books. That's a lot of books.
And these aren't small books, I'm guessing.
No, my average is between 300 and 500 pages.
You get them stats?
Yes, I have this amazing app that's called Storybook.
Storybook? What's that? The new sponsor? No,
we're not actually sponsored.
It sounded like that.
Yeah. So I have this app called Storybook. Me and my best friend both have it.
Yeah.
Is it called Storybook? Storygraph, not Storybook.
Okay.
Storygraph. So Storygraph, she got me to download it. Shout out Courtney. We have each other on it so we can see which book we're currently reading, each other are currently reading. It gives me stats on so much stuff. It gives me stats on how many pages I've read total, how many books I've read, what genres the books are, whether they're slow, medium, or fast-paced books, whether they're literally like 8 different, all in pie graphs. It's so good.
That's cool.
And
That's
it
very
also,
cool.
you can review books. So you put your currently reading, and then when you read it, you can review it. You can give it like 5 stars overall, and then like predictability ratings and what type you read, whether you read it on Kindle, like an ebook or an audiobook or a paper book or whatever. You can write down your favorite quotes, favorite characters, page markings, the whole lot.
And does this give you like updates towards that goal? Like, oh, you need to read.
On track, yeah.
To say, oh, you need to
so
read
it says,
this many
it'll
books.
say like, oh, you're falling behind, try and catch up, or you're right on track. And right now I am
So where are you at?
ahead.
You're ahead. Okay.
Because I have read 21 books and it is the 1st of June.
Are we like, this is like the direct midpoint of the year?
The
sort of thing?
direct kind of,
Almost
no, it'd be
midpoint.
mid-June.
Yeah, mid-June.
Yeah.
So you're ahead.
So we're 5 months in, like finished 5 months, and we've got, because we're in the 6th month. So at the end of June, it'll be the direct halfway.
Yeah.
So if I read 4 books by June, end of June, then I'll be directly on track.
Yeah.
So
you have been reading a lot, and you're always smashing out the Kindle.
Yeah, so I've got my Kindle. I read so much more on my Kindle than I read in paper books.
Dude,
let's just say that for now.
We were in, I think I pointed this out the other day when we were in the car. We're going for like a 10-minute drive, and you pulled out the Kindle. We had the roof down and we were like chilling.
Oh, it was like a 20-minute drive.
It wasn't even a comfortable drive because then I accidentally pulled us onto the highway and was like,
on the
"Ooh."
Jeep, yeah.
And we went the highway with the roof down, and I was like holding the roof in the back, making sure it doesn't fly away, even though it wouldn't. But yeah, we're on the highway and just crazy wind, and you're just
Kindle.
like kindling. This is a perfect time to Kindle.
Anytime I have like uninterrupted 20 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, Kindle.
Yeah.
I bring it everywhere with me.
Regardless of what highway you're screaming down.
No, but 100%, I have read so many more books, and I read so much quicker, so much easier on Kindle. It is insane.
Yeah.
So
what's some of the books?
So I'll put it sideways. I also have this other app. I've just screenshot it off here. So if you are looking on the video, you can see it now. I've just put it up. It's just a really cute way to like
Why am I zooming in? You should zoom in on your phone if you're watching on video.
You can just chart what books you've read. This one's called TBR Bookshelf. TBR stands for to be read.
To be read? Okay, sorry, I'm not in with the lingo.
The first books that I've read in 2024.
Are you going to list them all out?
I'm not going to list them all, but I'm going to say a few.
Just some of your faves?
So I reread Fourth Wing because I read that at the end of last year, but I reread it in dramatized audiobook, which we'll talk about in a future episode because I really want to talk about dramatized audiobooks.
Dramatized audio experiences
in general.
Yeah.
I read Iron Flame. I read the last 3 books of the Throne of Glass series, so Tower of Dawn, Empire of Storms, and Kingdom of Ash. I also did the tandem read of Tower of Dawn and Empire of Storms. 100% best way to do it. Because those books run concurrently.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like there's, by this book, because it's like book 5 and 6, or 6 and 7 of this series. It's 6 and 7. You've got so many characters that you're looking after, and they split off into 2 groups. And it's exactly the same time frame. All the events happen over.
Yeah. But
you would read like the whole book, and Empire of Storms ends on a huge cliffhanger, and I would have hated to have to not know what happens and have to read a whole nother book about side characters before being able to get back to the main character. So reading them side by side, chapter by chapter, as they're developing, one, you're not spoiled on what the other people are doing because you're reading them at the same time.
Oh, yeah. I see what you mean.
Because like they're happening in the same time frame.
Yes,
so like over the same kind of year.
Just from 2 different perspectives. Sort of.
But it's 2 different groups of people doing 2 different things on 2 different continents.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like you're not getting spoiled of anything, and it's so good. And then I feel like it just makes it even better when they all come back together in that last book for the big finale, because you've kept up with them for so long. It was like keeping up with the Kardashians. It's insane. There was so many characters.
Yeah.
So that was amazing. And then I read like the final book of Throne of Glass, and I would literally have to stop my book, pause, because I was sobbing.
Yeah.
About these characters. Jay would come out and I'd be sitting on the couch genuinely sobbing, like sniffles, like bad snort sniffles and everything. Like it was It was a lot, but it was such a great ending. I want to read it again, all over again, straight away. I read all the Akatar books. Me and my friend Courtney, we read those together, and we're messaging each other about all the stuff. I listened to a few audiobooks too. So instead of listening to music in my car, anytime I have a drive longer than 20 minutes or around over 15 minutes, I will listen to an audiobook, and I think that's great. So I've listened to a few autobiographies. So I listened to I'm Glad My Mum Died by Jeanette McCurdy, Beyond the Wand by Tom Felton, The Woman in Me, Britney Spears, and they were all great. I love an audiobook where it's narrated by the actual person it's about.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's pretty cool.
So good.
And because do they add little tidbits in there of like, and this.
No, but it's just the way they.
Well, you wouldn't even be able to tell it.
No, it's just the way they read the book as is, but it's just something about what the emotion they can convey.
Yeah, well, I suppose they're the
through
one
saying
who's like
their
kind
own
of
story
written it and stuff.
Yeah. I read the Powerless series, so Powerless and Powerful. That was great. People We Meet on Vacation. I needed a bit of a break from fantasy because I was reading a lot of fantasy. So my go-tos when I'm over kind of reading fantasy is Emily Henry or Rebecca Yarros's other books, like Things We Leave Unfinished and everything like that. Great. I read One of Us Is Lying. That's a great one. That's like a murder mystery. And I tried to read Lightlark, and I just really didn't
Was
like it.
that the one written by the kid?
Yeah, she was young, but not young enough.
You read me a few of those, and it was just super cliche. Like
it sounded
someone
like a
who
bad fan
wanted
fiction.
to be a poet almost.
Yeah, so it sounded like bad fan fiction, but nothing against, like, it's just not for me. Some people
It
loved
ain't.
it, but I'm not a big fan especially because like Sarah J. Maas wrote the first Throne of Glass when she was 16. And that is the most amazing story.
Yeah.
But
this was a bit odd. Like it was just
it
written
just
really
hit.
weird.
I don't know. There was something about it that it just didn't hit.
Yeah,
But
written really weird.
yeah, so I hit officially over 20 books. I love having my currently reading on my thing. At one point I had 3 books on there, and my friend Courtney messaged me being like, what are you doing?
Oh, so she can, because
Because she can see what
all
my
that.
currently
That's
reading
right.
is. Yeah, so she can see all my
Cool.
charts. She can see all the books I've read and what I'm currently reading. And I had to explain to her that I was going to start reading one book, decided to start another, and was also like, I'm listening to an audiobook at the same time as I'm reading a normal book on my Kindle.
Mm.
And then the other book that I've read so far this year, it's called, I'm completely outing myself here. It is a Harry Potter fan fiction based on the Marauders, and I have read it about 4 times.
You read this in school?
I did read this in school.
Yeah.
When Jay and I first got together in a relationship, I was reading this, and because at school we had free printing,
You printed it?
I would print out chapters to read at lunch.
Okay, yeah.
Because you couldn't take, because it was the school computers, right? Couldn't take your computer out at lunch.
But you could print off.
I would print out for free using the school's printer chapters of these books so that I could read it during lunch. I've read it 4 times. It still hits 100 million %. It is my favorite. It is my favorite book. If anyone wants to ever get me a amazing present, most thoughtful thing ever, I would want a physical copy of this book. I want to learn how to bind books myself, purely so that I can have this book in hard copy. I figured out how to download fan fiction books onto my Kindle as an actual book, so I don't have to go online to read it anymore. So that's really cool. It feels like an actual book through it. It is called How to Tame a Marauder, and 100%, every person I've told and convinced to read it have said it's amazing. And I will reread that one until I die.
Okay.
That book is the reason why Sirius Black is my favorite Harry Potter character.
Because of a fan fiction.
Because of a fan fiction.
That's pretty cool.
Not even because of the actual series.
Yeah.
Because of the fan fiction.
Well, you see what they make out of it.
But it's so good. It's
if you think
absolutely
of Wicked,
incredible.
Think of Wicked.
Yeah.
We're talking about Wicked.
Yep. Wicked
in the first
is,
episode.
Yeah.
That's
you're
a fan
correct.
fiction, but it's turned into this massive. It's almost turning into its own franchise now.
Yeah. So that's
But
my
very cool.
little book update as of the 1st of June, which is when we're recording this.
Yeah.
So my next reads, I've just started reading what is it? Trials of the Sun Queen fantasy series. There's a couple of books out of that. I've got a very long TBR, but if you have any recommendations, I love the likes of Fourth Wing, Throne of Glass. I did like ACOTAR, not as much as Throne of Glass. I haven't gone into Crescent City yet, but I'm going there. Love some Emily Henry, anything like that. So if you have any suggestions, let me know. I am down on like the book talk things, and I have like an ongoing kind of notes TBR
Nice
ad. So like let me know.
TBR storybook. That's very cool.
Storygraph.
Same.
But different.
But totally different, because that's not what it is. Anyway, that's the story of Ash's book thing. Now, we will go into our last topic for the day, which is kind of a game. It's more just us. I want us to hypothesize where...
Oh yeah, similar to like the laws, but these are like popular sayings. So an idiom is a popular saying, and like some sayings are like going out of fashion. And Gen A, like Gen Z, Gen A.
What the fuck is Gen A?
Gen Alpha, the newest gen after Gen Z.
The newest gen? You guys don't count.
Like anyone from like 2007 onwards. A Gen A.
You didn't even deserve a gen.
Did you not know that?
Gen A.
Gen Alpha are who are like the...
We're Gen Alpha, bro.
No.
Bro, we are Gen Alpha, bro.
That's really not...
No.
That's not great.
I know.
Anyone, I think it's like 14 or 15 and under is Gen A.
Jeez.
So it's like middle schoolers in America are like Gen A. So we're seeing the last of Gen Z. Gen Z finishes in like 2006. So they're like 18 now.
Gen A, you're in the books. That's fine.
So a lot of these sayings people Gen A don't know. It's like that trend that I showed you.
So we're going to teach them.
No, but it's like that trend really quick sidetrack. The trend that I showed you where people like stand, there's like a kid and then a like older person, anyone over the age of 18 right now, stand with like a wall between them, and it's like, show me what a phone is, and like the person will be like an actual phone with like a earpiece and like a mouthpiece. Yeah, the hand gesture of like a phone. And like the kid will put up just a flat palm to be like an iPhone, like a touchscreen phone, whereas the other one will do like, you know, your thumb and your
like a
pinky finger, like
up to their ear.
Yeah, as in like an old like landline kind of phone, as well as like, you know, winding down the window. One will actually press the button, and one will do the actual like circular
even though it's still
wind
called
down.
Winding down the window.
Yeah, and there's like it's such a thing.
That's funny.
So I'd be interested to see who knows these sayings.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. So we'll do this, and then we've also got a question from our studio audience that is not in the studio but that asked a question. Anyway, so our first one would be, you know, breaking the ice is the idiom. You know, to start a conversation, I guess, is what it is. How would you break the ice with someone is how you would say it. Why do you reckon that became a saying?
Like, did someone just like
fall
into the ice?
I already did actually know this one.
Was that were they like standing on a lake, and then like one of them, as they walked up, just fell in the lake as to break the ice when they were like, hey!
Yeah. I think you're right. I reckon two people went onto an ice lake.
Yeah.
They didn't know each other, but they were meeting, like almost like if, you know, George Washington crossing the Delaware River or whatever. Let's say that was like frozen.
Yeah.
Because he went at Christmas, and it was. And then him and the other people on the other side were like, oh, how'd you do? And they meet in the middle, and they both fall on the ice, and they go, ha 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 ha. Let's stop the Civil War. Totally fictional event.
I feel like we're going very literal with it, though.
Yeah, maybe it's not. Would you like to know?
Yes.
That's the idea of the podcast. So the background of that is that in the 17th century, it referred to, ships breaking through the ice to navigate waters. The ships basically drive up the ice and then break through it, like coming down.
Yeah, right.
They drive up onto the ice and then wait for the weight of the ship to break through the ice. And this was just, it later came to mean breaking social barriers, but first it just literally meant a ship navigating through frozen waters, because it was like
Unlike the
driving
Titanic.
up, break through it. That did not break the ice, unfortunately.
The ice broke it.
The ice broke it. The ice broke.
The ice won.
Yeah. The
ice won tally.
Titanic
0.
It might get a second. I don't know. They kind of want to build that again. But anyway, ship lore. Maybe we should do an episode of ships. Oh, you would hate that.
Jay's
That'd be so
obsessed
funny.
with ships and like learning about like ships. The
Just
amount of times,
ocean liners
the
in
amount of times
general.
you'll be listening to a podcast that has like the full sound effects of ships, and like
Yeah,
every
they're
now
so
and then
cool.
you'll put on like white noise to go to sleep, but it's like waves and ships. It's not even like.
And it's just people in the back. Yo ho.
Yo
No,
ho.
I just blew out the mic. But anyway, next one. Bite the bullet. I don't know about this one. Bite the bullet is to endure a painful experience. I would say it's more like jumping into something, unknown
someone
territory, isn't it? Like,
I don't
I'm going to
know.
bite the bullet and just go and buy that thing.
Yeah, that is. It's like just buy the bullet. Is just do it.
Buy the bullet.
Don't even think about it. Just do it.
Just buy the bullet and go for that crazy dive in the
Yeah.
cliff dive or whatever,
I don't know. It could be the literal thing that I think of is like someone having to bite the bullet, like a bullet casing to like hold in the pain. You know how they
I
used to
think
bite
that,
on leather
yeah.
straps?
I think that,
That's like my literal brain working.
I think since the
like in the war,
the definition that I've got here saying to get through a painful experience, you bite the bullet. I think that might be what the history of it is. I think you're right.
yeah, like
That
they'd
might
have
be
to
the
bite
war.
onto bullet casings because they didn't have like leather straps to.
Mm.
Because when people are in pain and they have to like put someone's leg back into place or take out a piece of glass or something that causes a lot of pain, they used to like get them to bite onto a piece of leather.
The only other thing that I thought of is like,
I feel like bullet would just break someone's tooth though.
yeah, it would probably. But I thought of like sometimes when you have a rifle or whatever and you're looking down the scope, not every rifle has like a magazine, so maybe they had to bite the bullet before they put the next one in, and that was like them doing a suspenseful task.
Oh,
Bite the bullet because you're going to need to do another one after that. Maybe like after you shoot that duck or whatever that's flying at, not ducks, but maybe if you shoot that thing that you're trying to shoot, you're going to have to give it a second shot straight away and jump in. And so bite the bullet.
Oh, yeah.
That's my only other thing, but I think the painful thing is...
I'm intrigued. Tell me the answer.
So the background for that, yeah, spot on. So before anesthesia, soldiers were often given a bullet to bite on during surgery to endure the pain.
I was absolutely
How's that?
correct.
How's that?
And I even said during the war.
Yeah. Yeah, in war, yeah.
I even said in the war
I
because
would
they
love
wouldn't
to know
have
the
like
history
leather.
on like, what date that would be.
The only other thing that I would say they could use, but their bags weren't leather. Their bags were canvas.
Yeah.
I say like the straps of their bags, but they wouldn't be leather. They'd be canvas straps.
They would be, yeah. That's crazy, isn't it?
That would just hurt.
That would, biting on a bullet. Ow.
Like between your front teeth or like around the side.
Yeah. Actually, I learnt a pretty funny thing with bullets. Apparently, there's a particular Aussie car. I think it's the AU Falcon, the Ford AU Falcon. You can use the fuses, like the electrical fuses that a car has that usually looks like a tooth, like two prongs.
Yeah.
Apparently, that particular car, you can fit a 22 caliber bullet in it, like a really small bullet. So some people use bullets in their fuse box and they'll just be driving along, and then if that fuse shorts out, bang, they'll just shoot.
Oh my goodness.
I'm sure that's what would happen, but I don't know if that actually has happened to anyone. But
Surely
apparently they
not.
fit, and people use those electrical
Wow.
bullets instead of electrical fuses. Yeah. Anyway, fun fact that I got
Sidetrack.
told this week. I don't know if it's real or not, but that would be cool.
Yeah, there's no fact checking on that.
There's
by
no
the
fact
way.
checking on that one because I heard
That's
that one
not.
from he was a mechanic. He's a mechanic friend, so he's a very smart guy. Anyway, next one is spill the beans. What do we think the background on spill the beans is? So revealing secrets? Revealing a secret is what it means. So
Yeah.
why do we think that was? Spilling the beans. Maybe maybe spies back in, whether it's wartime or just like political thingos, spies would come in and crack open the tin of beans and put put beans, like, so let's say I'm catering for the queen. She wants beans and toast. I put a piece of paper under the beans or on the plate, and it says, like, you know, get out really quickly because there's someone trying to harm the royal family. Put a thing in there, pour the beans on top, and then at dinner time, we go, oh, better spill the beans, queen. That's me doing that. Better spill the beans, queen. And then she spills the beans off her plate and reads the secret note and goes, oh, everyone has to get out of the building really quickly to saved.
I feel like
that's the best I've got.
It would not go past the Queen's tasters.
The beans.
Yeah.
Hey, why did this guy try and put a sticky note in your beans? Yep, no, you're so right.
The Queen would have like 3 tasters that would try her food before she does.
This tastes like paper.
And ink, because it was
acrylic ink. Why is there blue ink in your beans?
I feel
just
like...
how I like it.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, that's so bad. Anyway.
I don't know. I feel like spill the beans. Would that be like a common thing to, like, maybe someone was like telling a real juicy story over like beans on toast? Over beans?
Like back in the for some reason with this one, I've gone back to the 1800s and I'm like, yeah, it's super old, this one.
Yeah.
I doubt it is, but yeah, maybe they were making beans.
Spill the beans.
Or what if like...
It's like how the only thing that's going through my head right now is how when you used to like drop peas off your plate and they go on the floor.
Yeah.
My mum always used to say, oh my God, you just peed on the floor. Oh, that's all my brain is thinking about with spill the beans.
Spill the beans. Well, I'm thinking maybe like people collected beans back in the day. And because they get dirty and stuff, you'd have to like shake the bucket to get the dirt off the beans. But maybe like you accidentally drop and spill the beans. And now it's like, nah, you're going to get punished. And they would let out like their deepest secrets or something. I don't know.
As soon as you said something about like beans again, my brain went to then Jack and the Beanstalk and like magic beans.
Oh, yeah, magic beans.
But I don't think it's anything to do with that. What is it about?
So supposedly in ancient Greece, so actually further back than I was thinking.
Wow.
In ancient Greece, voting for candidates was done using beans. Spilling the beans would reveal the election results prematurely.
Oh.
That is cool.
Oh, I really like that.
That is really cool. So if you spilt the beans that were in a certain bucket or whatever, that was like, hey, you voted for this guy, put your bean in there, you would put your, I'm guessing like a dried bean, not like
so if someone, yeah, like a lima bean or something.
Yeah, lima bean.
I don't know why I went to a lima bean, anyway.
Anyway.
Like a kidney bean or whatever.
Kidney
but if you, like someone
bean
would,
specialist.
like someone would pay off a little kid to go and knock over the buckets so they could see how many each had.
And they'll go, oh, it's going to be him. And then they'll all go and do whatever they need to do that guy.
That actually, oh my God, I was talking about something like this the other day at work, literally yesterday at work.
You were spilling the beans at work.
I was talking about that a cool way to like not increase tips because we don't really rely on tips in Australia, but a cool way to like make a fun tip jar would be have 2 tip jars and have like rival competitors. So like in the AFL Grand Final, you do like the 2 teams, or you know, when it's like Queensland versus New South Wales in the rugby league, you could do Queensland, New South Wales, because people would put money in which one they support.
Or they'd spill the bucket of the one they don't.
And even in like the Kendrick and Drake drama, you could do like a Kendrick and a Drake one, who when you will leave. You know what I mean? Like, and that would be cool. It changes each week. Because at my current job, we're talking about like doing themed happy hour drinks, like, you know, Taylor Swift happy hour or whatever. We did like a rainbow happy hour, stuff like that. It's really fun to change it every week to like what's going on in the world. And I was like, oh, another thing we could do would be like a tip jar that was the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because
that's cool.
It's like how at Grilled, every time you order at Grilled, you get a little token to put in They have like 4 charity boxes, and you put in the token to which charity you want a donation to go to.
Oh, yeah, true.
And you can choose which charity it goes to,
Yep.
which is pretty cool. But yeah,
That is very cool.
I
Nice.
love that.
That is, that ancient Greece one. I love
I
it.
wonder whether we'll be able to see something like that when we go. Oh, we're not going to Greece.
No, we're going to Rome. But very similar thing, I guess. Philosophies and
Yeah, that would
politics.
be cool.
Anyhow, so next one is let the cat out of the bag, meaning to, again, reveal a secret or disclose something that's supposed to be confidential, I guess.
Cat out of the bag.
Cat out of the bag. Maybe people used to, same
Maybe
thing
there was
with
like a cat burglar.
And he was a literal
to reveal that he was the
cat
burglar, they
let
the cat out of the bag.
out of a bag.
No, they let the cats.
The cat.
I'm just thinking like Cruella de Vil in like 101 Dalmatians, how they like
Oh.
reveal her because of the coat.
Yeah. Let the cat out of the bag. I was also thinking, for some reason, I went the bean route with the queen again, and I was like, maybe they had a shaved cat and like wrote a message on the cat or like attached it to its collar. And then they're like, oh,
I don't
someone's
think
coming.
so.
They put it in the bag, and then some guy was like, let the cat out of the bag. And then seen it had like a nasty message on it or something.
No, I don't think the queens would have ever had like the royal
Oh, I
family
don't know
had
if the
cats.
queen would have, but she's more of a,
I get what you
Sheba.
I
whatever.
don't think so.
Corgi.
I don't think that's where it's at.
Yeah, I don't think that is where it's at. Maybe we should find the real answer to this one, which is in my notes here. The background of that this one's not 100% by the sounds of this very well-written thing. This idiom may have originated from medieval market practices where farmers would sell piglets in bags. Dishonest ones would substitute a cat for the pig. And if the cat was let out, their scam was revealed.
I was half right.
Yeah. That was pretty much it. So like scammers
Like
letting the
burglar,
cat
scammer.
out of the bag
Yeah.
when they would sell piglets instead. But someone would go, oh, I want 2 piglets. And they'd go, yep. Go back to the back of the carriage, put a piglet and 1 cat in there. Or maybe 2 cats.
Sneaky, sneaky.
And then give it to the person. Person would get home to the farmer's wife.
And let the cats out of the bag.
And go, what? I've got to let the cats out of the bag. This guy was a scammer. But if they'd prematurely let the cats out, that's letting the cat out of the bag.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a really cool one too.
I like that.
Hopefully it does say that it may be that. So
I hope that's real.
I hope that's real. It sounds right.
Sounds reasonable.
Yeah. Barking up the wrong tree to pursue a mistaken or misguided course of action. To go after something that's not right. Barking up the wrong tree. Maybe it was just after like dogs were barking up trees they thought had birds in them, but it's not.
I feel like
I think that was very literal.
I just think of like a cat and dog chase. Like the cat ran up the tree and the dog thought it ran up a different tree and was barking up the tree. And then the owner came out and was like, oh, he's just barking up the wrong tree. Like the cat's in the other one.
But then I'm also thinking like these things have to be very like widely. The last ones have been very like,
Enough
widely,
people have to say
enough people have had this happen to where they've let the cat out of the bag. That thing,
Mm-hmm.
like, I think that's just a very literal sense of sometimes dogs bark up the wrong tree.
I think this is one, if any of them
Or-
can be literal.
Could it be like people who work with trees are debarking them or something, and then they go, dude,
You're barking up the wrong tree.
yeah, you're meant to do the birch trees, not
You're
the oak trees.
debarking the wrong
You're
tree.
barking up the wrong tree. Or it could even be deers. Deers like scrape bark on the trees and that.
I like the wood, like the...
The tree one. We'll go with that. This
No?
idiom, we're way off.
Oh.
This idiom comes from hunting dogs that bark at the base of trees where they mistakenly think their prey is hiding. They're barking up the wrong
Hey,
tree.
I was half
Oh,
right.
well, yeah, you were half right. It's just
I
about
said
more
cat
about
in the
hunting
wrong
dogs,
tree and there was a dog. I said a dog though.
Yeah.
I was half right.
Yeah.
I just didn't say hunting dogs. I just said a normal dog. And
Yeah,
the owner
true.
would come up and be like, oh, he's barking up the wrong tree.
Well, at least I didn't make one up about the Queen.
I don't know how you keep bringing in
I
the
don't know.
queen.
For some reason I keep thinking of idioms as like really, really old. That one's caught red-handed. To be caught in the act of doing something
Oh,
illegal.
I actually know the answer of this one.
Where did it originate?
It's something to do with red ink. Like something would happen and they would actually have like ink on their hands. They were literally caught red-handed.
Do you mean ink or do you mean blood? Because I was certain it's like people who murder someone, or back in the day they had
Something would stain their hands.
Yeah. So
I don't know whether it was like there was like a vegetable thief or something. It was something about like thievery or something like that, and it would literally stain their hands red.
So the one I know this from is the grave robbers of like the 17th century.
Yeah.
And they would. So there was a scientist who lived at the top of the town, essentially at the university, and he would give money for those who had bodies that he could do experiments and surgery and stuff on to learn about the human anatomy, because they didn't know fully everything about the human anatomy. And so all these people started going and grave robbing. Grave robbing was a big thing.
So they could sell these bodies.
So they could sell the bodies and make money. And then these two fellas in like Ireland, like, hey, what if we just made the bodies? And so they started murdering people and bringing them to the guy. And then it wasn't till after a while they got, like, they would roll them up the hill in barrels and stuff. Like, it was just messed up after directly murdering them. They owned a hotel, and then they murdered this person there. As they're walking out, the person was like, oh, you're carrying like a dead person. They were like, oh, yeah, they just like died in their room and all this. It's not us. Well, your hands are red. And there was blood.
Yeah,
that's what I remember.
I know it's something literal. Like there was like either stained red hands or, you know, it was literally on their hands. It was red hands.
Yeah, I just remember it from the murderers who were trying to get bodies for a scientific advancement.
Yeah, I knew it was something directly with like it was that one is literal.
Yeah, so definitely we're both on the right track. It originates from as early as the 15th century Scotland, referring to someone who's caught with blood on their hands after committing a murder. We're both right on the money. It was just way earlier than I thought.
Yeah.
Way earlier. Yeah. Well, do we do one more? Do we do one more there, darling? That was very British. To kick the... No, we won't do that one. Kick the bucket. That's pretty... When people go to the gallows and kick the bucket sort of thing. What about under the weather? Feeling ill or sick?
Just feeling a bit under the weather.
Under the weather. So I guess maybe because that odd feeling you get when the clouds come over and it's like, oh, it's about to piss down rain. And you get that odd feeling of like, oh, I'm uneasy.
Oh, maybe.
But if you wake up feeling under... That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking like, oh, you wake up under the weather.
Yeah. I like that.
Feeling a bit under the weather. Feeling a bit uneasy.
Yeah.
Like when the rain comes in and there's clouds. Yeah, I could stick by that.
It's like that right before it rains. That feeling where you're like, oh, it's about to come down. Like you can see it.
Yeah.
It's like you can feel it. Because under the weather, like you would describe under the weather as not being ill. You know, you're not quite ill yet. You're just feeling a little bit under the weather.
Yep,
it's like that pre-sickness where you're like, oh, I'm just feeling a little bit under the weather. Like I could get really ill. Like I feel illness coming on and I feel sickness coming on. I think you're right on.
There could be something to that as well when you say under the weather and you say you're going off, like you're going off the cliff into sickness. It could be that of like the storm's turning. I'm like right there, see where the weather is. I'm like right under that and I'm about to...
It could go either way.
It's going to storm up or it's going to get really sunny.
Could pass.
We'll see how I feel tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. I think that's right.
Something there. This one, let's see what this one is. We are so off, but that is so cool.
Okay.
Originating from nautical terminology, when sailors were feeling seasick, they would be sent below deck to recover away from the harsh weather conditions above. Feeling under the weather.
Oh, they're literally...
They're physically under the decks so that they could get rid of the swaying, because the higher you are up on a ship, the more it sways. So they would go under the deck so there was no sway so they could recover from feeling seasick.
Wow.
And so they're under the weather. They're
I
not
still
getting
like
the weather
ours.
on them. I do like ours as well, but that is very cool. That makes a lot
I
of
like
sense.
that. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, because it could have, never know, that idiom could have been, I'm feeling a bit, I just need to be under the decks for a while. Imagine if people said that, I just feel like I need to be under the decks for the while. Some Aussie's going to try and use
I don't think that
tomorrow.
would have caught on as well.
Some Aussie's going to try and, he's going to listen to this and he's going to call up work tomorrow. Maybe I'll do that. I'll call up sick and go, mate, I just feel like I need to be under the decks for a while.
And then you get a New Zealand person answer the phone and they're not going to take it that
Under
way.
the ducks. Under the decks, bro. All right, next I have the special question from our guest that I wanted to talk about quickly before we jump off the air. Let me get the question up first because I probably should have done that. So essentially what
It's in the Discord though.
That is in the Discord?
You might just want to restart that whole thing
All right.
once you get the question. Because you still don't got it.
Got it. Okay, so the question I wanted to ask before we go off the air.
This is a question from one of our listeners.
Yeah, from one of our loyal fans and quality assurance.
Quality control.
Quality control testers. Hopefully he'll sound off in the comments about his answer. But why isn't... So there's two questions actually, my bad.
Oh, goodness.
First question is, why is Tassie not called South Australia? It's the most southern point of the country. Is it because we really don't consider them human? No. We really don't consider them Australian?
Tasmania wasn't Tasmania until it separated from the rest of the continent, right?
You know people weren't here when that happened, right? Or are you saying when the frogs...
Well, it wasn't found first.
No.
So Tasmania wasn't found when South Australia was named.
No.
I'm pretty sure Victoria, New South Wales, South Australia, they were all found and named before they knew Tasmania was a thing.
Possibly. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure they thought that was the southernmost part of Australia, and then they found Tasmania, and it was called something different. It wasn't called Tasmania at the very start. It was called like Newfoundland.
Oh, yeah. I think you're right there. So I might just do a quick Google search.
You need to start prepping these answers before we get onto the pod, dude.
Yeah. No.
But I think it's something like that, and then it changed to something about Tasman's land.
That's right, Van Diemen's Land. Well, yeah, there was a bunch of wars there and stuff. So Van Diemen's Land in 1825. Then a bunch of people went there. A bunch of other people were there already. But anyway, so I think they got together. 1901 was the entire Australia became a country essentially. It became a part of the British colonies, and they were like, "Here you go. Now you guys can be constituted as a country." And Tassie was put in there as Tasmania.
Yeah. So I just read a thing here that says Van Diemen's Land was part of the colony of New South Wales from 1803 to 1825. And then it became a separate colony after that. So they would send convicts to Van Diemen's Land until 1853. And it was known as Van Diemen's Land because it was a harsher climate and convicts weren't treated as well.
Tassie had some really crazy wars back in the day.
Yeah.
Too.
So it said, 3 years later, the colony was granted self-government and took on the name as Tasmania in honor of Abel Tasman.
There you go.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. And the other one was, so Queensland, now that the Queen unfortunately passed away, will we be renamed to Kingsland?
I don't think so.
Could you imagine if we were called Kingsland?
It really
just everything,
wouldn't.
because the joke is like, oh, everything that was Queen, whatever, is now changed to, Queen's birthday is now King's birthday. All this. Princess Peach is now clearly Prince Peach in Mario, like all that stuff.
I'm pretty sure Queensland was not named.
Oh, you think it was not?
It was not named after the Queen that we had right then. I'm pretty sure it was named
No,
after
no.
Queen Victoria.
Surely
or something like
someone
that.
else. Surely the other
Yeah,
Queen.
Queen Victoria. I'm correct.
Oh, right. There
It
you go.
was to honor Queen Victoria. So it wouldn't change to King because
Right.
that makes no sense.
Because it wasn't even for Queen
It wasn't even
Elizabeth.
for Queen Elizabeth
Wasn't even
II.
for thy Lizziness.
No, it wasn't even for Queen Lizzie.
There you go.
It said it says the Australian states got their names in 1859. People petitioned to separate into different instead of just being the British colony of New South Wales. I think it's what it was called. It was like the British colony, whatever. And it said in 1859, Queen Victoria granted them their own colony, and they named Queensland in honour of Queen Victoria.
There you go.
Because it was originally called, oh my goodness, that's interesting. So the Queensland was originally called, the settlement was originally called Eden Glassy.
Eden Glassy.
A portmanteau of the Scottish towns Edinburgh and Glasgow.
Oh, no.
And
Thank
it said
gosh we're
that,
not called that now.
Yeah, so it said Major Edmund Lockyer discovered outcrops of coal along the banks of Upper Brisbane River in 1825
There you go.
and named the settlement Eden Glassy.
Eden Glassy. Welcome to Eden Glassy.
That's
Sounds
very interesting.
posh.
But yeah, pretty much everything was New South Wales.
Wow.
It was the British colony of New South Wales.
Next time we drive through Brisbane, we've got to just think of it. Imagine it being called Eden Glass, but with Aussie accents now. Like, we wouldn't be talking like this like we were back in the day. Where it's Eden Glassy. But now it's Eden Glassy. Like, as you say, Queensland.
But also, I just seen like, you know how when you Google something, it like comes up with like extra searches of like what other people search for. One of them is why is everything named after Queen Victoria?
Oh, nice.
And it says many places which were once in former British Empire were named after the British monarch who reigned over it for the greater part of the most dominant period, which is Queen Victoria.
Yeah, because
So
they were
Victoria
getting all the
in
countries under their
Australia,
belt.
Yeah, Victoria in Australia, Queensland. There's a couple of ones in.
Which, to be fair, spread in democracy. Woo. Helldivers.
Yeah. But it's just it's purely because she was the one that was the reigning monarch when the colonies all separated. And who are they going to name stuff after?
Yeah, like
we're still in the Commonwealth.
No, it's just people pulling up on boats and they're like, "Who do we name it after? Maybe the Queen." Like, yeah, do this one after the Queen as well. That's okay.
Yeah, imagine Queensland, right? They'd be like, yeah, let's name this one after the Queen. But we can't name Victoria because that's taken.
Yeah,
why don't we just go like Queensland?
It's her land, like the one down below, but it's the Queen's land. Oh, that's great, mate. That's great.
Perfect.
Queensland.
Done.
Queensland is
Lock it in.
Queensland it is then, isn't it?
Oh my goodness.
But that is so funny though.
Yes.
Also, I've just added an extra question onto this just to make this long cast extra long.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Why is Tassie? Why even then? Why is Tasmania? Why has it got a nickname like Tassie? But like Northern Territory, we don't call it like
Northie. Victoria is not Vicky.
Vicky, you're exactly right. Why do we not have like Queensy? You going to bloody Queensy, are you? Going Tassie? On a Newey? Southie? You go Southie, mate. And Westie? You go Westie?
See, no, but I think
like no one says
I think that Tasmania just gets lumped in. Like you don't sit there and you go. Like when you go, you don't go, I'm going to Queensland. You go, I'm going to Gold Coast or I'm going to Brisbane. You don't sit there and go, I'm going to Hobart.
I'm going or I'm going to Gold.
No, I'm going to Hobart. You go, I'm going to Tasmania.
You don't
say where.
Yeah,
like you don't say where in Tasmania you're going. You just say you're going to Tasmania.
No,
whereas in Victoria, you go, I'm just going to Melbourne.
Yeah,
I'm going to Adelaide.
We usually use capital.
I'm going to Perth.
Yeah.
You say like the capital city. You don't say like, I'm going to WA. Or like, I'm going to Western Australia. Whereas Tassie's so small that they kind of just, it's pretty much it is itself as an entity.
So they just get Tassie. And because no one cares about it.
Yeah, you don't sit there and go, I'm going to Hobart.
Beautiful piece of country though. But yeah, Tassie. Yeah.
Very interesting.
That's funny. And funny enough, another stupid fun fact that I will add on to this.
And then we'll
in
be
my
done.
quick, and then there's so many fun facts in this one. The reason South Australia is called South Australia and not Southern Australia, like because you got Northern Territory and then Southern, is just because
And
it sounded
Western.
better. That's the only reason Southern Australia is called South Australia.
But why do we not have an Eastern?
Because that's the Queensland.
No, we have
We
Northern
almost have
Territory.
Ed and Glassie.
We have Northern Territory. We have Western Australia. We have South Australia.
Mm.
Why do we not have an Eastern Australia? Why is New South Wales not Eastern
Maybe
Australia?
maybe
Or
that's
East
a smart
Australia.
move because they seen in other countries they were pulling up like Crips and Bloods or whatever, like East Coast versus West Coast, like Biggie Tupac, and they were like, we don't want the same thing in Australia
That's so silly.
because in 100 years, Biggie and Tupac will happen.
Yeah.
Western Australia,
And we
Eastern
want to
Australia.
avoid that. So
Yeah, so we didn't want the West Coast, East Coast battle.
that makes perfect sense.
Anyway, just my hypothesis. What's your hypothesis?
Sound off in the comments, please.
Yeah.
Let us know.
I would also like to know, before we do sign off, that the podcast is now both on Spotify and YouTube.
Yeah.
So I haven't quite got the videos to work on Spotify. We're going to keep working on that. Spotify doesn't really like us at the moment with that. But currently, yeah, it's on Spotify and YouTube. And
Hit us up.
yeah, hit us up. Yeah, that would
And
be
on
funny.
that note,
Yeah.
we're going to finish this episode.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it.
I've had a lot of fun. It's 11 o'clock at night as we're filming this, and we're having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But
So I think this has been a really insightful episode. We've learned some things.
yeah,
We've talked about some things. We've figured out some things.
so yeah. And what about those exclusive videos? Maybe we might have the story of exclusive episodes where
I think that'd be cool, where we talk about just one specific topic.
yeah, or maybe just more like insightful things where it's one of us talking about what we like.
A more in-depth
More
kind
in-depth
of situation.
of some of the
yeah, I
topics
think
we
that's a
talk
great
about here.
idea.
That seem to be quite popular or
Yeah.
whatever.
So
That
let me
sounds
know
cool.
if you
So we're gonna
want.
have
Let
that.
us know if you want like an exclusive of
Yeah.
any topics that we've talked about so far, or
Yep.
any topics we talk about in the future. Just let us know.
We can do like full histories of that stuff or whatever. But that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Enjoying it. Hope you're enjoying it too. We're having a lot of fun.
And also, if you want to rate this podcast on Spotify, that would help us out a heap. And also, like, subscribe, leave a comment on YouTube, because it really does help us with the algorithms and keeping this thing afloat. And also, we're going to have a guest coming up very soon. We've got a few people coming up to visit, and we're going to get some guests on. And I'm so excited, and I hope you're excited too.
Yeah. Hoping everyone just jumps on, has a quick chat, and lets us know what they're doing, and we'll have some fun times. And if you're not listening on YouTube or Spotify, get out of our house.
I was like, what? I took a second to see you next time.
Peace out.
Love you. Bye.